So you've found it, the perfect home. The price looks right, but hang on. Have you budgeted an extra 20, 30, maybe even 50,000 Rand for everything that comes after you agree on that price? Yeah, that's what we thought. Let's break down the often shocking hidden costs of buying a home in South Africa so you don't get caught with a nasty surprise.
And this right here, this is a real comment from a real first-time homebuyer, and it just perfectly captures that heart-sinking moment of sticker shock. You budget for one thing, and reality serves you a bill that's double, sometimes even triple what you planned for. Believe me, it's a hugely common and incredibly stressful experience. So, the big question is, why does this happen over and over again? I mean, where do all these extra costs even come from? And why does it feel like nobody warns you about them up front? Well, that is exactly what we are going to unpack in this explainer.
We're going to start with that sticker shock. Then we'll decode all those confusing costs. We'll get into the legal fees, look at what you'll be paying after you move in, and then we'll wrap it up with a clear action plan so you can budget like an absolute pro.
Yeah, that feeling of sticker shock is precisely what we want to help you avoid. It has a way of turning one of the most exciting moments of your life into pure anxiety. But the good news is, just understanding these costs is the first huge step to taking back control of your budget.
Okay, let's pull back the curtain on these so-called hidden costs. And you know what? They aren't really hidden, they're just not very well explained, usually. So we're going to demystify this whole jumble of fees and taxes so you know exactly where every single rand is going.
You know, the easiest way to get your head around this is to think of all these costs falling into three main buckets. Simple. First, you've got fees you pay to the bank. Second, you've got taxes for the government. And third, you have fees for the lawyers and administrators who handle all the really important paperwork.
So let's kick things off with the bank. The very first fee you're likely to see is the bond initiation fee. Just think of this as the bank's admin fee. It's for the service of them checking out your application and actually getting your home loan all set up.
Now, what's really important here is that this fee is legally capped. A bank cannot charge you a cent more than this R6037. You have two choices: pay it upfront cash or add it to your loan. But here's a little pro tip for you. Paying it in cash now saves you paying 20 years of interest on it later. It's a no-brainer if you can swing it.
Okay, next up is the government bucket. And this one is the big one, transfer duty. Let's be really clear here. This is not a fee for a service. It is a straight-up tax that you pay to SARS for the privilege of having a property officially transferred into your name. Now, this is a number you really, really want to remember. If the home you're buying costs R1.1 million or less, you pay absolutely zero transfer duty. That's right, nothing. Zilch. This is a massive saving and a super important number to keep in mind when you're out there house hunting. For any home over that R1.1 million mark, the tax gets calculated on a sliding scale. You can see how it breaks down here, but the main thing to get is simple. The more expensive the house, the higher the tax rate. This can easily become your single biggest upfront cost, so it's vital to get a precise quote on it. Okay, now this is the part that trips almost everyone up. Let's talk about transfer fees. See? Different word. This is not the tax. This is the money you pay the lawyer, the conveyancer, for the service of getting that property legally into your name. And this table just makes it crystal clear. Transfer duty is a tax. It goes to the government, to SARS. Transfer fees offer a service, and they go to your lawyer. One is an obligation to the state, the other is paying a professional for their expertise. Seriously, knowing this difference is half the battle.
All right, so let's dive a little deeper into those legal fees. This part of the bill can feel a bit like a black box, right? You just see these big numbers for services that aren't always super clear. So let's break down exactly what you're paying for when you pay the attorneys.
First things first, these fees are not just plucked out of thin air. They're based on recommended guidelines that are published by the Law Society of South Africa. This makes sure there's a level of standardization and fairness, and the final fee is calculated on a sliding scale based on your property's value. So what do you actually get for that money? Well, a lot. The conveyancer prepares a mountain of legal documents. They verify every single fact, they pay your transfer duty to SARS for you, and they coordinate with all the different people, your bank, the seller's lawyers, you name it. And most importantly, they handle that final official registration at the deeds office. Think of them as the captain of the ship, steering your purchase through some really complex legal waters.
Right, so the transfer is done, you've got the keys in your hand, but the costs don't stop there, not even close. Being truly financially prepared means looking beyond the purchase price and budgeting for the ongoing costs of actually living in your new home.
See, your bond repayments is just one piece of the monthly puzzle. You've also got to account for municipal rates, water and electricity, homeowner's insurance, that's to cover the building itself, and probably some kind of security service. And hey, if you're in a complex, you'll have monthly levies on top of all that.
Let's just zoom in on one of those that often catches people by surprise: bond protection insurance. This is basically a type of life cover that banks often insist you have. It's designed to make sure your bond gets paid if something really unexpected happens to you. And this is why it's so important. It's a financial safety net for you and your family. If the worst happens, it can settle the entire outstanding bond. Or it could cover your monthly repayments for up to a year if you lose your job or can't work. It basically prevents you from losing your home during a crisis.
So, after all that information, you might be feeling a little overwhelmed, but please don't be. Knowledge is power, right? Let's switch gears and turn all this insight into a simple, step-by-step plan to make your home purchase as smooth as possible.
Okay, here it is, your 4-step action plan. Number 1, ask for a quote. Before you even make an offer, get a full cost breakdown from a conveyancer. No more guesswork. 2, use a bond originator. It's a free service and they make the banks compete for your business, which can save you a fortune. 3, boost that credit score. Spend 6 months getting it as high as you can. A better score means a lower interest rate. And 4, save smart. Your savings goal isn't just the deposit anymore. It's the deposit plus all these extra costs we've talked about.
And this really is what it's all about. It's not just about affording the purchase price. It's about being able to comfortably afford your life in your new home. A clear, realistic budget is what turns a house from a financial burden into a real home.
So we'll leave you with this question. Now that you're armed with all this knowledge, what's the very first practical step you are going to take? Are you going to call a bond originator? Are you going to sit down tonight and calculate your real savings goal? Taking that first step is how you go from being a dreamer to being a savvy, prepared homeowner.